Welcome to a new episode of The Artist Corner. I am going to be talking about something that people have been asking me for months, days, years, however you count time, about a certain drawing application. The drawing application I'm talking about is Krita. Krita is a free drawing application. Always love free stuff. Free stuff is just amazing. So it's always nice to see that people have been offering drawing applications that are free to those who may not be able to afford the higher end applications. Krita is pretty solid. I've not been using it as much because I've been mostly using Clip Studio Paint. Clip Studio Paint's a pretty good application, but that's a discussion for another video. But with Krita, it's free. It's nice. Just let's just take a look at the application without further ado. So this is Krita. It has a very standard kind of user interface. It's very simple. It's nice. You get a nice like navigator stuff. Now, if I remember correctly, I had to kind of figure out where to get that navigator. I don't think it gives it to you when you first open it. You kind of have to like kind of program all this stuff together, which is fine. I got stuff that's closely to my setup I usually use when it comes to stuff, but I think I was forced to have layers here, which I don't really love. I like having layers on the bottom, but the bottom is the brushes. I know you don't see that. You don't see it. Let me just get rid of some of the stuff here so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So this is the brushes. To be honest, I am not too crazy about I'm not too crazy about the brush selection here. It's good. It's solid. It's straightforward. I'm not against a simple brush selection. I mean, you do get like certain categories of it, like you get ink, FX, erasers, digital, all, you get all that kind of stuff. I kind of align with paint because I think that's a little bit better to use when you're trying to do like digital painting stuff. Um, but there's all those kind of categories. But I'm not too crazy about some of these selections. Some of them just seem a little kitsch to me. I mean, let's just take a look at digital. Digital has like airbrush as basic. I mean, it's not bad. Like some of these have like certain connections to some styluses. It's fine, but I would kind of just line with paint. Paint is just kind of straightforward. You kind of get nice range of opacity. I'm mostly using the what is this one called? The Basic 6. Some people want to use like specific brushes, go through the settings, which is fine. But I usually stick with the basics because I'm a basic kind of guy. Yeah, sometimes you gotta stick with the basics. But other than that, it's solid, straightforward. It does communicate with the intros fairly well. You can have like different kind of stuff. So like I have auto scrolling. It has zoom, brush size, stuff that I kind of arranged with the intros. Now, if you're looking for a tablet, a little quickly here, if you're new to this, if you're not sure which I'm getting, look for the Wacom Bamboo. That was my first tablet, and it was really good. It was small. It's small, sure, but it gives you a good idea of what you're getting. It's very basic. There might be some nicer models in that range, but in general, the Bamboo line of tablets are very good places to start because it kind of gives you this kind of an idea of what a tablet would be in that kind of style. I'm using an Intuos. Intuos is pretty solid. You get a bigger size. It's a little more professional in comparison to the Bamboo, which is nice. I have not had any major complaints with the Intuos at all. I've been loving it so far. You get a nice little eraser thing on the top. But as you guys see, when I stream, I mostly use my iPad because very shortly I'll show you why I've been using my iPad when I stream art stuff mostly. Clip Studio Paint I use as well, and Clip Studio Paint's a little bit better with that, but we'll get into that when we get into it. So let's just get on to drawing some stuff. This is probably not going to be my best work, I'll tell you that right now. But we're not going to be talking about how to draw today. This is just kind of seeing what this does. Now, this also offers animation. You can make an animation frame. I didn't quite understand it. I probably need to look at it like more of a guide. I need to look online how to use it because it's a little set up differently. While Clip Studio Paint, I feel, is a little bit more user friendly. Same with Procreate on the iPad. That one is also pretty straightforward with how to do animations on that. But I don't know how to use the krita animation stuff, and I'm sure someone in the comment section is laughing at me, which is fine. I laugh at myself every day. So so far it has good range with the stylus. Now, this is what I'm talking about, why I stream with the iPad mostly, is that I do feel a little delay with this, and that's not really the application or the tablet's fault. I feel it's mostly OBS running, so I'm not going to hold it against anything other than OBS, because OBS does a lot of crazy stuff to my computer. It's insane. It's insane, guys. It's a test build too. They still have not made the official build for the new OS, which is very promising. When Apple announced the new OS, I'm sure OBS will be on top of that too. So this is good. It has good range of pressure. I'm not really pressing hard on the stylus right now on the tablet. This is kind of me going in lightly. So it's solid. I like the feel of it. It's not bad. I'm gonna tell you right now the way I'm feeling about this. I think this is a really good drawing. Now I used to always recommend Medibang Paint Pro, I think it's called. That one is really good because it gives you free cloud storage as well. You don't really have to pay for that. It communicates with your tablet as well. So if you have an iPad, you can kind of communicate between them directly, which is nice. That's a nice feature to have. The only thing with Medibang Paint on the iPad is that I have a 9-inch iPad, and if you have that app, it's very claustrophobic. It kind of squeezes the screen. It's kind of not really intuitive. If you have a bigger iPad, it might be nicer. So I wouldn't know. I have a 9-inch, which serves me just fine. That's kind of why I'm stuck with Procreate. And Procreate's a really good app, so I'm not complaining that much about that. But this is good so far. I think this has some form of cloud saving, which is fine. It's also free, I believe. But this is good. I think if you're looking for a free application, this isn't bad. I think this does a good job. It gives you a nice range when you're pressing down. It has a nice feel to it. The user interface is nice. The keyboard shortcuts, I'm sure it can be programmed a little bit better. On your own. I Now this is like a little nitpick. I don't like how the tools look. They look a little too thick. I don't know. This is something that little bothers me, but it's a small gripe that I have overall. But it's a nice application. If you're looking for a free one, I really don't see anything wrong with this. It's a good place to start, especially if you're like trying to find out what kind of artist you are. Now I'm sure. Now I know what some people might be saying, looking at my videos, saying, "Theo, is this like an amazing opinion? Am I the person to go to? Always find other reviews. Always do some searching, some digging. You might find stuff that I might be overlooking because I kind of go in a very basic approach. I kind of go with what I want, what I'm looking for, and this has what I'm looking for a lot, but I still would prefer Clip Studio Paint over this. I think Clip Studio Paint also works a little bit better when I'm streaming as well or recording. This does a good job, but it's not the best. The window selection is kind of wonky. Let's see if I can show you. So this is full screen mode, which is nice, but I don't like doing full screen mode when I do stuff. When I do art, I kind of like having the window mode, so I can kind of go between other windows quickly and more efficiently. This just it's not bad uh, either. It has a nice thing. I think it saves automatically as well, which is nice. Um, I see. There's some lag, but it's not bad. It does a good job registering the tilt as well. So like this is the pressure. The pressure is really nice. Uh, if you use the trackpad like I use for my computer, you can move around the canvas. If you want to zoom in, you're just going to do it this way. I don't like the cursor changing as much. It's not a big deal though, so I'm not gonna complain that much about it. Uh, so let's just draw the eyes. So it's not bad. It's not the best. I mean, you could probably like fiddle with it a little bit more as well. Let's just keep shrinking it. Now you get really thin. I do like that the opacity is up here. I think for a lot of times it's kind of relegated to near the layer part. You can also do the opacity of the layer as well. It's kind of nice, and I'm not losing my cursor nearly as much as with Clip Studio Paint, but Clip Studio Paint I kind of have to pay attention a little bit more when I do that as well. But this honestly isn't that bad. I actually kind of like this a little bit more. I've been noticing that it does autosave on the bottom sometimes a little bit, so it's kind of good if you're looking for that. So honestly, I think if you're looking for something that's free, I think Krita is a good app to go to use. And the best part about these apps, I'll be honest, when I go through apps, I have a hard time really saying, well, you should kind of go with this one more often or whatever, because I think they're all good in their own way. And I think that with free applications, you're open to choose whatever you want, and I do like that. It's a really nice feel that I get with this, and I like it. I like this drawing. I like this a lot. You get nice little options here. Let's just see how the color mixing goes as well. I don't like that you can't have the color wheel open at the same time. You kind of have to do it this way, but I think I have a yeah, I have this. So that's something else I could have as well. Now I think oh no. Never mind. I was confused for a sec. So we're just gonna give her some red hair because why not? Why not? Gonna make this a little bit bigger. Now see, like this overlap stuff, like it's not my favorite kind of thing, but that's stuff that's more relegated to the pen pressure they're giving. It's not like it's just some of the stuff like it's not angled very well. Like even on the iPad, I've noticed that like when I do like some shading and that, I have good range with what I'm tilting my pen. This I feel like you probably need to like kind of browse the brushes a little bit more, but I think this one is supposed to have tilt function to it. But let's try this one. Let's see how this goes. This is a little bit better. I think this is much better than that. It gives you a nice little painterly kind of look to it. So I like this brush a little bit more for that. Uh, oh, this is the okay. So this is the problem I have with this. Now I remember. So on my little stylus here, I have these two little brushes, these two little things, right? Now the way I programmed this is that this is supposed to be the I button because the I button is the eyedropper tool. So I do that so I can kind of pinch down to get the color I want. Then I push up here to get to the brush. And this does not have that functionality. I think I tried doing that. Let's just go through the preferences just so that I could see if I'm being a dum-dum or not. So let's see, where's the eyedropper tool? Like, I kind of feel like this should be a little bit more intuitive. Let's see. Let me just move this keyboard closer to me so I can kind of browse easier. No. Okay, nope, that's not gonna get it. What is the tool called? Because I thought it would be under eyedropper. Let's see, performance, tablet settings, not really doing that. Canvas inputs, keyboard shortcuts. If I hover over this, will it tell me? Color selector tool, so it's the P button. Okay. So can I can I edit that? The color palette. Which is weird. Usually they call it the eyedropper tool, which is a much better name. Let's see. Blending modes. Select color blending mode. So it has good, like, so this looks fine. I mean, it has a lot of options, but I kind of want to, oh God, this is choppy. It's chopping up. I don't, oh, let's see, custom. There we go. The I shortcut's ambiguous with the following shortcut. Do you want to assign the empty shortcut to this action? Shortcut to I for action for decrease opacity reassign. Fuck it. We'll do that. Let's see if that works. Okay, where's my brush? Oh, okay. There we go. And then this, yeah, there we go. We figured it out. So you can do keyboard shortcuts, as I figured. The names are a little wonky. I mean, this I would assume was the eyedropper tool. Wasn't the eyedropper tool, so that's fine. The color mixing is solid. Let's. Oh, that's cool. It has shows the Trinity dude. Oh wait, whoops! I did not mean to do that. Whoopsies. So let's do this. Kind of mix it in. Okay. So this has good mixing, as far as my dumbass is concerned. Could probably mix a little bit better. Let's see. Yeah, that's much better. So I found a better brush to do the coloring. I found out how to do the eyedropper stuff, which is nice. So this is a pretty good application. If you're looking for one to get started with, I think you can't go wrong with this. I think it has an autosave feature to it. It has good preferences. You could do like tablet stuff with it as well. It's a nice application. I would recommend it. I mean, there's really no harm in getting a free application and trying it out yourself. I have not seen any issues with Krita. I just stick to Clip Studio Paint, which goes on sale periodically. But Krita is not bad. I would recommend Krita easily. It's a nice application, good user interface. It's open. I'm not a huge fan of the brushes, but the brushes that they give you are fine. You know, they're not bad brushes. You know, it's not like GIMP where it just fucks up randomly and you never know why. I know someone's gonna be like, oh my god, Theo, why are you saying that? No, it fucking sucks, but um, it's still overall a good program. It has good interface. You have a good like navigator. You have a good color wheel to it that shows you like the trinity of colors when you select it. It's really nice. It's a nice application. I like the presentation of it, and it's very easy to kind of comb through. So at the end of the day, I would give this a recommendation to anyone who's trying to get into doing digital art. It's pretty straightforward. So let's wrap this up with just a few closing statements. At least just in general, what I like to talk about is, excuse me, I have been like looking at all this kind of stuff with people looking up for a lot of advice and all this kind of stuff. And I kind of approached this in the last video, and I wanted to say this: when you're looking for advice, if you're trying to get better at art, it's always better to kind of find a person that really can nail what you're looking for. You know, you can always use other people as inspiration or opinions. Always look for artists to look up to. Like I look up to Meryl Cartwright's artwork. I look up to like I-Fi, Yoji Shinkawa, etc. Always find something to kind of strive for. You know, there's always good artwork to find, good art books to get inspired by. The drawing I uploaded, the sketch of me with a mustache, the picture, the drawing of Sam, was all inspired by the Death Stranding art book, which is a very solid art book, has great artwork. I really love Yuji Chikawa's artwork, and when I was going through this really pushed me to try to kind of go for a more like painterly style and try to do new things as well. And instead of relying on lines. Is always good. You know, you always hear people say that, oh, you know, you don't see lines in real life and never use lines. I would say try to stick with lines for the beginning of it, just so that you can kind of get the form down. Um, and then try to balance. Try to see what the image would look like without the line. Sometimes I just hide the outline layer just to look at the image to see if I'm on the right track of what I want the piece to look like. Color theory is a little bit rough. I would not be the one you want to listen to about color stuff. I'm terrible with it, as you guys can see. But that's stuff that you kind of have to get a feel for. The one thing that someone told me in college that I kind of liked the opinion he had was always try to mix colors you wouldn't think can mix and see what that gives you. And I like that idea because it kind of gives you this idea of just constantly trying new things and seeing what works and what doesn't. And that's really what art is as well. I've also talked about in the last video that I might have, like, in a stream in the past, kind of made art sound like it's arduous, tedious, and this negative stuff. And maybe I was being a little bit harsh and not really thinking about what I was saying and just trying to fill the dead air. So I can't really sit here and say that I fully believe that. But at the same time, there's this pitfall with art that it's very easy for people to fall into, that they think that art is super duper easy and it's kind of like, okay, I could just draw and do stuff. And I wouldn't want to dissuade people that do that. If you want to do art for fun and you want to just fuck around, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's wrong or you shouldn't be doing that. But if you want to get better, that does take work, and that does take a it does take work, effort, and passion to put into that. It's not something you're just gonna like snap into and kind of get it. It's work, and it's work that you want to do. It's not work that you're gonna hate doing. The stuff that I hate doing with art is mostly stuff that is like stuff that's not in my comfort zone, and that's something that you kind of have to also understand. When you're doing art, you have to be open to leaving that comfort zone, and that is a dual-edged sword, because it's going to be something that's fun, and it could be something that you might discover, and there's always new discoveries to have, and stuff that's like you might see as a drag. And the other thing that I kind of fight myself over when I do art is making new art, constantly moving on, and always going back. Sometimes you're stuck with doing tunnel vision, and you want to focus on one piece to completion, and that's fine to have that dedication. But at the same time, that could be time used to try new things and moving on to other drawings. Now, if you have a commitment to something, like if you're doing a commission or anything like that, of course you want to be dedicated to that piece and finishing it. But maybe you want to draw something else with this commission. You might want to push something else out, and you might want to keep trying at something. And that's always something that you're gonna have to try to understand. It's a little balance that you kind of have to work with, and the balancing act itself sounds bad, but it could also just be a little bit fun to kind of figure out on your own. Art is always fun. It's always something that's work and it's hard, but it's something that you do get a sense of accomplishment or feeling of getting out of. And I think art is, and I think a lot of people who do art kind of fall with the harshest critique is yourself kind of stuff. And I think it's a lot of it can be very depressing and overwhelming. You could be overwhelmed easily with these thoughts of, will people like this artwork? Oh my God, I don't think I'm gonna be as good. And that happens. I mean, it happens to me all the time. I think, I post this artwork, and some people like it, some people don't, and I just start dwelling on what other people will think internally, and it still weighs on me a little bit here and there. But I always tell myself, well, look, I'm glad with what I draw. There are people that are in like love this stuff too, and they always tune in, they watch my little videos, and that's always something to look forward to. And that's kind of the fun part of art, is sharing. I think sharing is what I look forward to when I'm trying to finish something. I start a sketch, I love the sketch, I love starting a drawing, and I love that process. And then when I get to the part where it's like, oh my God, I kind of want to move on or whatever, and I always say to myself, wait, just imagine the moment when you get to hit share, and you share your work to the world. That to me is kind of fun as well. There's all this kind of stuff that goes into it. So I don't want to kind of throw in this negative kind of stuff into it. There is a positive side of art, and there's a lot of stuff that you can get into. There's all these kind of schools of thought as well with it, where you can always find something that aligns with it too. Art is a very ambiguous and a big wide net of stuff to find, and I think that is what makes it interesting. And I think I keep saying I think like that's the one thing in college that I kind of disagreed with the notion of you have to give something that's within this golden rules, and you kind of have to give something that is to a standard. And I wouldn't say necessarily that you shouldn't be having a standard or some quality in your work, but you should also be aware that maybe you could have a style with with what you're capable of. You could kind of own it and kind of meld it into a style. Just as long as you push it and you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. There are artists I see that I follow that is like, the artwork isn't necessarily great. There's some errors I see in it, but there's still a lot of passion, and there is a style with it that kind of holds it, and it kind of has it stand on its own. And that's something that I think people should strive more for, is that your quality of art might not be as good as like the pros or any other person on the internet, but at the same time, if you can make a style that can stand on its own, and it can make someone sit there and not realize some of the stuff, then you're onto something. You're onto something that you can kind of meld into. And people have improved dramatically with that too. There's always room for improvement with art. There's constantly growth going on with the community and artwork, and that's something that people should kind of be looking forward to. And there's also stuff that art is really hard to succeed in because it's a very competitive career. It's not a career that you could kind of get into and be successful day one, but it's something you have to keep pushing and striving for. And everyone, like I read these articles, these books, and you just hear these opinions of people saying, "Oh well, if you're doing art, just focus on that, and you'll be successful in this and that." And I think that's a little bit bullshit, because you can focus on your art all you want, and it still might not get you somewhere. You should keep working on it. Don't get me wrong, but you should also try to find something to support it too on the side that's more consistent. you know, do that, and then if the art stuff takes off and it's making significantly more money than your stable job, then maybe you can shift over to being full time into art. But if you're kind of struggling with it, find something to support it. Art is like, it's like a child. You're having this child, you love the child, you don't want this child to go away, obviously, but you need to find something to support it. You can't just have the child kind of go off in the world and be successful immediately. You kind of have to find a something to support the child, and then the child will grow and grow and grow, and then the child will eventually be successful, and that is what you want to do, in my opinion. I think there's all these exceptions to to everything. You're never gonna find a perfect example of things. There's always an exception to the rule. That always happens. So don't take what I'm saying, as a grain of salt. Don't take it as like concrete or perfect advice. I'm sure there's someone out there that can give you better advice than me, but I can only tell you what I think is beneficial, because this is what I've kind of been noticing in my own kind of work and my own kind of stuff and what I've been doing. So hopefully that helps you, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Artcast. That was kind of a little bonus for you guys. Again, the drawing challenge I want you guys to do for the next stream of the Artist Corner is to just draw a mini story in a drawing. Now, what that might be, I'm not necessarily saying you gotta tell like a story with a bad guy or a good guy, but just you could draw something that, like, you can look at the scenery or you can look at what's going on and you can tell that there's something going on. Like, I gave you the example of, draw someone like at a bar and he's just drinking bar. He might be looking depressed. He might be on his phone, and you can tell that maybe he's looking at his phone and something bad happened on the phone or something. Or draw someone that is walking past something that something happened and you can tell an event happened. I'm not looking for anything complete. You don't have to draw a finished painting or anything like that, but just kind of play around with it. Find something that you want to instill into it. If you have nothing to share, that's fine too. I'm not gonna belittle anyone over it. I'll try to do something on my own as well that can tie into it a little bit, and we'll see what happens. So again, thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys post up in my Discord. That is to share your work, share your thoughts, what have you. The link to my Discord is in the description below. Feel free to share your work. Never be nervous. We all love everything. So share it, see what happens, and maybe the world will notice. Anyways, thank you for watching this Artist Corner. This was a fun one to do. Hopefully you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next video or stream, whichever one you guys prefer. So that's it for this. I'll see you guys next time.